Hey, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you exactly how I flip gaming PCs for profit. This is going to be a step-by-step guide, and I'm going to be using a real-life example from a PC I just flipped. You might have seen it before in my shorts, and it looks something like this. I'm going to break down what I paid and what I upgraded, and also I'm going to talk about how much I sold it for and the exact profit I made. If you're trying to start flipping PCs or want a side hustle that actually makes sense, this video is for you. Now, if you don't know what PC flipping is, it's basically buying a cheap PC and flipping it, as in like replacing some of the parts, making it look better, and then reselling it for more money, making a profit. In today's example, I'm gonna show you how I flipped this PC into this PC, and how exactly I made $130 selling it. Now this took me less than a week, and I'm gonna show you how you can do it. Now you want to look into places like Facebook or OfferUp or Craigslist or something like that, where you could find gaming computers for cheap, and you want to look for listings that say RTX or gaming PC or computer. And oftentimes they might have bad picture quality, which is good for you, because it's gonna make them less popular, which means that you can get a better deal. And now when you're sending an offer to the seller, I recommend offering only like 50 or 100 below, but not too much, because sometimes people get mad and then they just ignore you. But today I'm gonna show you how I brought this listing $50 down and how I flipped it. Now, the seller originally had it listed for $300, and the PC came with an i7 9700F and a GTX 1660 Super, which honestly, it's an okay deal. I wouldn't say it's the best deal, because you can definitely get something better. But at the time, it was like right there, so I just said, can you do $250 and I'll go get it tonight? And he agreed, so I went. And then once I got there, I inspected the PC before buying it, which is something you guys should do, because sometimes people might try to sell you bad components, but you just want to check the quality, it looks good. Sometimes, you could ask to bring a screwdriver and maybe take some of the parts off just to inspect them closely, but most of the time it should be okay. Now, this PC had every part to make it work, like the storage, the CPU, the GPU, and the case and everything. But when you're flipping PCs, you kind of want to make them look better so that you can sell them for more. So once I got this PC back to my space, I went on Amazon and looked for good case prices, and I also looked for CPU coolers, because most of the time you can find very cheap but good looking CPU coolers, maybe under 20 bucks. For example, these two that I have on the screen. These are two popular ones that I use most of the time, as you have probably seen from my shorts. But yeah, you want to try to find good deals like that on Amazon for new parts. And for this build, I actually decided to go with this case, which is the Fowefkin F1. And I found it on a really good price, because it came with 6 fans. And it also looks really good. It has a lot of glass, which I know people like. I was basically able to turn this build into a white aesthetic build, which actually increased the profit a lot. So once I got those parts, I started building the PC, And once I was finished with the PC, I took some pictures and was able to make a listing. Now, when you're taking pictures of the PC, you want to make sure you have good lighting, because great pictures sell better. In my experience, my listings with better pictures have gone way better than my ones with worse pictures. So you want to make sure you have a good lighting setup. Not even a setup, but just good lighting on the PC. And then when you're making the listing description, I usually like to ask ChatGPT, which is a really good idea for some of you that are just starting. I just ask a prompt like, can you make me a description for a computer with these specs? And then I just use that description, only changing a few details. And that usually works for me and helps me sell faster. Now, as an example, I'm going to show you the listing I made for this computer. Here are the pictures I took. And this is the title I made with ChatGPT, which basically says white gaming PC and then just a couple of the specs. You don't want to have too many numbers in there. You want to keep it simple, and then for the description, you want to keep it simple as well, writing 2 paragraphs maybe. Like as you can see in the listing I made, I wrote a first paragraph that basically says that I'm selling a white gaming PC and that it can handle 1080p performance and some 1440p performance. I also explain that it has optimized settings. And then in the second paragraph, I say that the PC is fully set up and ready to play. I also mention that Windows is installed and the drivers are updated and the settings are all good and all that. And then after that is when I start listing the specs. So you can see the list there. And then I just say it's a great options for games like, and then you just name some generic games like Fortnite or GTA 5 or Warzone. And then at the end, I just say message me if you're interested or want more pictures or have any questions. And then you can either say that the price is negotiable or that the price is firm. Most of the time when I'm pricing these PCs, I make the price a little bit higher than what I want to get so that there's room for negotiation and people actually think they're getting a good deal. But in reality, they negotiate down to the price I'm actually trying to get. So yeah, you just want to price a little bit higher. And once you're done writing all those details in the description or title and submitting all your pictures, you can use tools in Facebook Marketplace like the ad placements where you actually pay like $2 per day or something like that, and they actually place ads for you. Now I use this app for every PC I sell because it actually does help reach more people, and it actually has helped me make more sales. But you know, if you're just a beginner, you don't really need it because you're still gonna get some visibility on your listing. But you know, as you advance more, you can actually start using tools like that. I don't know if other sites like OfferUp have those tools, but you know, you can always check them out and they're actually helpful sometimes. But I would look it up first to make sure you're actually getting your money's worth. But for now, I can tell you that in Facebook Marketplace, the ad placement actually has helped me. But once again, it's optional, so you know. Alright, so once I submitted that listing on Facebook Marketplace, that was like the 3rd of April. And then I was getting a lot of messages, but you know, most of the time it was people lowballing me, which you can ignore because most likely you're not gonna make a deal out of that. But I actually got a couple messages that were serious, and I was able to sell this PC in like less than 4 days, which is actually pretty good for the profit I made. And you know, someone messaged me about it and they tried to negotiate, so I actually did negotiate for them. And then they asked me to deliver the PC, which I actually charged a fee for, which I would recommend you guys to do. You know, if someone tries to request something like that, just charge a fee because, you know, they're kind of like wasting your time with that delivery. So yeah, guys, once I actually made a deal with the guy, the actual price breakdown is the PC purchase was $250. The upgrades were about $120, somewhere around there. And then I used some spray paint to spray paint the GPU. Which was like $6 or something like that. But you know, I got a bunch left over, so I would say even less than that. So the total cost of the build, I would say, was around $370. And after all that, I listed it for $600, I believe. And I was able to sell it for $500, which is actually what I was targeting. You know, you want to target somewhere along the lines of $100 for profit. Although if you're just starting, it is good to get like reviews and everything by selling cheaper. You know, you want to start getting reviews so that later on when you actually list PCs for a bit higher, people look at your reviews and they actually trust you enough to buy them. So yeah, guys, the final numbers were I sold it for $500 and the total investment was $370, making the profit $130. And that is only from one flip. And the best part is, once you get good at this, you can repeat it weekly. For example, this week I sold 2 PCs, another one which I'm going to talk about in a different video, and this one. And before that, I sold a PC in less than a week. But the biggest tips for beginners, you know, just to recap, is that If you want to start flipping PCs, first you always focus on the value, not just the specs. Sometimes a mid PC is the best flip if you get it cheap. Second, clean PCs sell way faster. You know, a dusty PC looks like it was abused even if it runs fine. So you want to make sure they look good and clean, and sometimes mention that in the description because that helps, you know. It makes people feel better about the PC. And third, always list it like a finished product. People don't want used parts. They want a gaming PC ready to play. Like I said before in the description, make sure to give ChatGPT a prompt that says to describe that the PC is ready to play. And lastly, don't rush deals, you know. If someone is selling a PC for too high, just wait. More deals always pop up, and that goes the same for sales, you know. You don't want to rush into a sale and make too little profit because you're going to end up getting more offers later on and you might regret selling too early. So just make sure to be patient about it, especially if you're just starting. But yeah, that's pretty much the full process from start to finish. If you want, I can make a full guide on how to price PCs, how to avoid scams, and what parts give the most profit when upgrading. If this video helped you, drop a like, subscribe, and comment what PC you want to flip next. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you for watching.